The saga of Ethan Klein is a warning to everyone as to why you do not try to pander and you do not apologize. Now, what do we mean when we say don't apologize? We mean don't apologize when you did nothing wrong. If there's something you did that you think was wrong, I guess you have no choice but to apologize if you regret doing it. But I suppose you'll need to have a bit of spine, meaning that even sometimes when you do things that might be wrong, you still stand by your sentiment, but can apologize for delivery. In this story, Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions loses his sponsors after he makes offensive comments about the LGBTQ plus community. Well, Mr. Ethan Klein, as you and many others are probably aware, leftist organizations and cultural groups are easily offended, in which case you're going to be apologizing for everything, even if you made a passive joke. Because of this, Ethan Klein lost his sponsors, and it was actually a big deal. People were saying, hey, look, man, you reap what you sow. Ethan had taken down episodes of his podcast where he interviewed Jordan Peterson, but not other controversial episodes. And he said it was something to do with Jordan Peterson's dangerous ideas or the right-wing pipeline or other fake news trash. Ethan is just desperate to latch on to what he thinks will make him money. I feel for him, I really do. He seems like a kind of a clueless guy. And I'm not saying that to be mean to the guy. He said it himself. He's not a political guy. He can talk to you about life and pop culture stuff, sure. But in this political arena, as everything has become political, he has no idea what he's doing. So he loses his sponsors. Jordan Peterson responded when the episode was taken down saying, I liked you. But, rest assured, you will be held to an ever increasing standard, which you will not be able to maintain, and then they will devour you. Okay. Ethan Klein is once again being canceled, this time because he jokingly mocked his own apology, and now people on the left are saying, you never meant that apology at all. Let this video be a sort of warning sign as to why I don't entertain bad faith garbage. Why the only thing you can do is stand up for what you believe in and tell everyone else to shut up. If you don't like it, don't watch it. I don't care if you're on the left, right, up, down, religious, not religious. I'm going to say what I think and feel. And if you don't like it, there's nothing I can do. I'm not going to keep trying to play whack-a-mole, trying to figure out what won't or will upset somebody. I'm going to say what I think, and that's about it. Here's the tweet. Keemstar's got the latest. Now, before we get started, my friends, we're also going to be talking about how the media lies. Because this is the point about the games they play. They will lie, they will cheat, they will steal. And as we're in the whole Twitter drama space, I just want to let you know that I am working on buying a billboard in Times Square that reads, Taylor Lorenz doxed libs of TikTok. Something like that. And the reason for it is, look, I don't care all that much if they want to report on libs of TikTok. Of course, I assume most of you know, but libs of TikTok is just an account on Twitter that aggregates videos from leftist personalities that are not flattering. It's these people on the left saying ridiculous things. You want to criticize them? Fine, go ahead, so be it. You want to dox them? Sure, I think it's wrong. It's the gaslighting. Taylor Lorenz went on CNN and said the right-wing media lies. Everybody lies, I guess, but not in this regard. You lied. If you want to come out and lie on CNN, not like anybody's watching it, I'll do this. I'll spend the money and we'll get a billboard in Times Square saying that. Maybe it'll say something like you lied. Now, I think we're going to keep it simple and just be like Taylor Lorenz doxed libs of TikTok. Just so it's there, it's on the record, it's a statement, so be it. But what we need, if we want to challenge all of this and show people what's going on, go to TimCastcom, become a member to help support our work. Buying a billboard in Times Square is ridiculously expensive, but I've been thinking about what Elon Musk is doing, and I'm like, we got to do more stuff like that. So I will. My goal will be to get as many people to sign up for TimCast.com as possible, because I got to be honest, a billboard in Times Square, it's going to run between like $100,000 and $250,000. Yeah, that's a lot of money. It's going to serve as an advertisement, obviously for the work we're doing. It's going to serve as an advertisement for our ideas and our goal of pushing back on media lies. I don't want people to think it's just like, we're trying to smack talk somebody. But I think with your support, we'll be able to pull this off. But I also want to do something special, something very, very special. My friends, in this segment, as we talk about how Ethan Klein has No sponsors because he was canceled. I'd like to give a shout out to Virtual Shield by heading over to surfinginternetsafe.com. Why, yes, Timcast has sponsors. And this one's actually kind of funny and a bit meta. Surfinginternetsafe.com will bring you to Virtual Shield, and you'll get a 50% off lifetime discount. A virtual private network is a basic layer of security for you as you browse the internet. If you want to have that basic layer of security, get a VPN. I recommend Virtual Shield because they're a great company. It's really easy. They've got it works on almost every operating system. You don't got to think twice. You download it, you press the button, boom, basic layer of security. It's going to prevent governments, hackers, just nefarious actors from trying to steal your information, and it encrypts your Wi-Fi as well. So if you're broadcasting to a Wi-Fi router, that's also going to be protected. Again, surfinginternetsafe.com. And I want to point something out. Ethan Klein loses his sponsors. Virtual Shield has sponsored my YouTube channel, my first YouTube channel, and they now sponsor, well, I don't really do sponsorships on the Timcast channel anymore, but they still sponsor the work I do. I've never had this issue where they've come and they've been outraged and said you're offensive, and I get insulted and smeared all the time on the internet. Go to surfinginternetsafe.com, support a company that won't play these dirty games and will provide you with security. Here's a tweet from Keemstar. Ethan Klein's LGBTQ plus fans were just starting to get over his homophobic remarks from 2 weeks ago. And now he memed his original apology, showing a lack of sincerity in his apology in the first place. Now they're upset again. Ethan hates the gays, says Ethan. Says Keemstar. So here's the original apology, April 12th. Following this story, let me see if I have it right here. This is from hitc.com. YouTuber Ethan Klein claims he has lost sponsors in H3 podcast episode. They say in a recent episode, Ethan explained the comments he made about gay men a few days ago had angered fans who have taken it upon themselves to get rid of the sponsors. The YouTuber also issued an apology later as his comments ruffled some feathers. Well, here's what he said. To my LGBTQ plus fans, I am sorry for the comments on today's show. The sexualization of gay men and the grouping of tops and bottoms is a stereotype that I will be trying to unlearn. Apologies to the caller, too, who I shouldn't have pressed inappropriately. Hope you guys know I always mean well. That was April 12th. Well, on April 23rd, Ethan said, to my English fans, I am sorry for my comment on today's show. My judgment of beans on toast being gross is a stereotype that I will be trying to unlearn. Apologies to all English people who I should not have pressed inappropriately. Hope you guys know I always mean well. And now you have these responses from people saying, and you wonder why you are losing members. It's been a ride watching this guy's career take off and then crash and burn. And among other things. Ethan Klein apologizes for homophobic James Charles comments on H3 podcast. There is no winning, good sir Ethan Klein. There is no winning. You can only be true to yourself. Now, perhaps Ethan thinks he needs to be. Look, I don't think Ethan has any political positions. I think the dude is, I have to be honest, on the back end of the bell curve, whatever. He's on the decline. All things come, all things go. I'm sure that'll be true for a lot of people, but in entertainment. So I've never been a big fan of trying to make an investment in an entertainment career. How long will you be entertaining for? The FUPA guy with the double chin and the hat, he was only a character that was memeable for some time. Ethan made a great business move when he shifted from his goofy YouTube videos into podcasting and started interviewing people like Jordan Peterson. All of a sudden, you had what may have eventually been a new Joe Rogan. He was edgy, he was offensive, he was a funny guy, and he was willing to talk to people who were considered controversial. Now he's not. He's not funny. He's funny a little bit, but what I mean is he's given up on being the comedic, edgy personality because he's worried about offending people. He's given up on interviewing controversial figures because he's worried about offending people. You will drift into obscurity if you are not willing to press the envelope and say what needs to be said. Well, that's it for Ethan, I suppose. Now, look, dude's rich. I'm sure he'll be fine. He's got a big podcast still. He's going to retain many of his members, but he's losing a lot, apparently. At least that's what they're saying. He's losing sponsors. Let me tell you, man, here at Timcast IRL and TimCast.com, we have too many. No, for real. We only do so many sponsor spots every month. It's like between 6 and 8. We've increased a little bit. And that's because I tell our ad sales guys, like, I don't want them. We've got a couple different companies. And I just say, like, not interested. I don't want to deal with it. That's fine. I want to make sure we're only onboarding sponsors who are legit, who are willing to say, we will not be a part of cancel culture. We believe in what you're doing. I'm not going to play these games. I issued an apology once. I apologized for being crass in reference to Andy No getting attacked by Antifa, saying that it was stupid for him to go out into this protest. And, I can say this. My sentiment stands. And it stood when I talked to Andy No about it. And I was like, I could have been a bit less crass about it. That I can acknowledge. But, sometimes, depending on what a person does, I can be a bit crass. To be fair, as to why I said, I apologize if I did come off that way, because Andy No did not, in getting attacked, do anything untoward to me or anybody else. And typically when I am being snarky or snide, it's because someone is lying, deceiving, or manipulating. And so that I can accept. But I'm more than willing to look at every chat in TimCast IRL and be like, nope, don't care, you're wrong. And they'll be like, Tim's wrong about this, Tim's wrong about that. And I'll be like, nope. Look, man, I just can't. I'm not going to live in this world that Ethan lives in, where you're beholden to people who watch you. If people end up not liking me, they can leave, I guess. Or they literally can. People do it all the time. The Trump's hardcore Trump supporters were very vocal about their distaste for me and the words they used when I said I didn't think Trump's narrative on fraud was correct. They're like, oh, he's just saying they doesn't believe it. Of course I don't think Trump is correct. I've said it a million times. I said it to Bannon's face. I can say it with conviction and passion. I can tell you exactly why. I think people who are look, you know what really bothers me? Tennessee Republicans booting Robbie Starbuck. That is evil. But you can see the dirty games they play. It's overt. It's above board. It's just unethical. It's just dirty. But of course, people got mad. I'm not going to come and be like, I'm so sorry, Trump supporters. No. And then people are saying things like, Tim just says what he thinks will keep we'll keep him on the platform or whatever. It's like, dude, there are some things that I think are not, we don't need to say a name, for example, and we set up TimCast.com so we can keep saying things. I will say, in all honesty, there are some things we will avoid saying, but it's usually things that, like, you can't talk about voter fraud on the platform, whatever. I don't agree with that narrative anyway. I had a great conversation when we were in Austin with Michael Malice when he was, basically saying the same thing. It's like voter disenfranchisement to tell people there's fraud. I just don't see it. I think there's dirty games being played in the legislature, and there were lawsuits and all of that, and we should pursue that route. But there are, of course, things you can't say on YouTube. Typically, it's not that big of an issue. And if we want to talk about stuff we think might get us in trouble, we just go on TimCast.com. But honestly, that is not as often as people try to claim it is. They think that secretly behind the scenes, I don't believe the things I'm saying. Like, get out of here, dude. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to play the stupid games that these people are playing. I'll tell you the games we are playing. Here's a tweet. Should I buy a billboard in Times Square saying Taylor Lorenz doxed libs of TikTok? I wouldn't care if they just owned it, but the gaslighting deserves a proper rebuttal. They got the Washington Post, big reach. They got that, and they got on CNN and other big networks. Now, I know countering that narrative goes on Tucker, but I want a proper rebuttal. Times Square, big billboard. Now, here's what we'll accomplish. We'll be advertising TimCast.com. We will be advertising our disdain for media lies. We will be correcting on the record a media lie. And all in all, I think it's a great marketing spend. If you want to support that effort, and it is expensive, head over to TimCast.com and become a member, because I think it's between $100,000 and $250,000 for a typical ad run. Now, I don't know exactly how it will work. It may not end up being that expensive at all because, ladies and gentlemen, from the Daily Wire, our good friend Jeremy Boring, co-CEO, says, yes, do it. I'm good for half. My response, all right, how do we do this? To which Jeremy said, I have a billboard in Times Square right now for Jeremy's Razors. First thing we should do is see if we can swap it over or get extra time. I'll have my guys reach out to the agency in the morning. It's happening. Conversations are currently underway to get a billboard up in Times Square because I am sick of sitting back and just saying words. You can only complain about something for too long before you just say, you know what? How about this? How about we do something about it? How about we put our money where our mouths are? I look at Elon Musk buying Twitter, and I think to myself, I wish I could do what Elon Musk hath done, or is trying to do. What he has done is made an offer on Twitter. I certainly don't have access to that much capital, but sure. What we can do as our companies become ever more successful is push back, build culture, shake the system up a little bit. The Daily Wire has certainly been doing that. Jeremy is certainly down to do it. I'm a big fan of the Daily Wire guys, and I'm certainly willing to do it. We need to get in the face of culture and say, it's time to do stuff. Now, what's a Times Square billboard really going to do? Like I mentioned, it's good marketing. It might get some earned press, meaning it'll ruffle the feathers of these leftist blue checks. We're going to be like, oh, you bought a billboard. Yeah, we could buy a billboard. You can't. Too bad. You know what these blue check journalists do? They get jobs at these media outlets where there's natural pull. They are wearing the Washington Post and the New York Times like skin suits, milling around saying, we're journalists. And it's like, no, you're not. You're activists. Be an activist. I don't care. You're allowed to be an activist, but shut up with the gaslighting. The Washington Post originally included a link to the real estate license of the person behind Libs of TikTok, which included a private home address. The only deflection the left seems to have on this one is it's a work address. No, it's a private home address listed in public records, in residential records as a home address, and it is also an address of an LLC. But she worked there. Yes, because in New York, buildings are residential commercial splits. Spare me. I don't need to explain to you why it says contact address and includes an address which is listed publicly as a home address. Y'all are liars. That doesn't matter. The Washington Post outright said we did not link to personal information or something to that effect, like private information. They did. That is an outright lie. So we're going to push back on these lies. So what happens when you get canceled and your sponsors pull from you? Well, Ethan Klein did mention in that video that he has members and they are keeping him afloat. Absolutely. And that's why I think membership drive is so much more important. And you know what we're going to do with your memberships, my friends? We're going to, we just hired another journalist, a great new journalist. We are hiring a couple columnists to write members-only content. So if you're a member, you'll be getting now written opinion stuff with a comment section. There's a lot going on this week. We took comments off the website. Maybe you noticed that. Some people were not happy about it. It's because there's stuff happening behind the scenes, and we got to wait until we can make the big announcement. I believe in transparency. I really do. I really do. I want to make sure you all know exactly what's going on behind the scenes. In due time, though, it's not so simple to just come out and just say, here's what we're doing, because then our enemies will be given ammunition to use against us. But when it launches, you'll see it happen. And I think it should be happening this week, perhaps maybe even today or tomorrow. And then I'm going to come out and we're going to say a bunch of stuff and it's going to be epic. And then we're going to have members only columns. We're going to have people writing up, their thoughts and analyses. We are going to be including voices. I would love to get leftist voices. I'd love to have stuff from Jimmy Dore, for instance. He runs his own show, so, he should do his thing. I am a fan of people expressing their left-wing views. The difference between what I mean in terms of an article and the culture war. The colloquial left in the culture war just lie all the time. An actual leftist, someone who wants, like communism, so long as we agree on the facts, I don't care what your opinion on economics is, we'll argue. You are allowed to have a different opinion on how to move forward. You are not allowed to have a different set of facts. Facts are facts. Now, there's one study. It'll say X, and another study will say Y. There'll be one poll saying X and one poll saying Y. If Gallup comes out and says most people are pro-life, the fact is, Gallup says most people are pro-life, not that most people are pro-life, because polls are conducted differently. But it does mean there are conflicting facts as to how we're persuaded. I would love to explore that. I would love to see a left-wing or right-wing person write a column and actually have some debates. I'd love to actually create a debate column. Like Newsweek does this. Get 2 people to write about a specific topic, and then we post it. And we're going to make members-only columns. The news will always be a free element because we want people to know the truth. And then the columns, thoughts and opinions, will be members-only, and we're going to expand that delivery. The other thing we're going to do with your money is we're going to market in the most effective way possible. In the most effective ways possible. Jeremy of the Daily Wire launched Jeremy's Razors. Not only is it some of the best marketing ever for the Daily Wire, it's a legitimate company, and they're signing up members. As Jeremy's Razors says, stop giving your money to people who hate you. Give it to me instead. I agree with the sentiment. It's brilliant. Well, Jeremy Boring is going to cover half of the billboard. I don't know what it's going to say. I'm pretty sure it'll say TimCast.com on it because it's legitimate. I want to market our disdain for media lies. That's what we're about. If there's one thing that drives TimCast.com, it's not left-wing politics or right-wing politics. It's freedom and honesty. And of course, they'll come out and be like, Tim's lying, he's grifting. No, we have journalists. We have journalists who debunk things. And it's really funny to me that the right, the very strong Trump supporters can be like, Tim's wrong about voter fraud. He's only saying that to stay on YouTube. And then the left looks at that and says, Tim is pushing the lie about voter fraud. Isn't that amazing? From the left, they're claiming I believe the lie. And from the right, they're claiming I don't. Perhaps it's because all I care about is it true? When it comes to opinions on how things should be, capitalism or communism, well, I'm a capitalist. I am not for complete unregulated free markets. I'm rather centrist right there. But I believe we should have a bit freer market. I think in many ways our tax system is broken, but we should have, I suppose the issue is this. I want rich people to pay more taxes. I want lower income people to pay less taxes. So it should be scaling up to the wealthier you are. It should be we got to reassess this, right? And I think our taxes should be going towards things like infrastructure, healthcare, not war and foreign nation building. I just think about how stupid it is that insurance is tied to business and how it's a hurdle for businesses to expand because they need to offer up healthcare. We try to hire people and they're like, do you offer insurance? Like, we can't. Like, there's actually legal limits and restrictions, so we're working on that. We'd like to. But then we also got to consider, we have to include that in cost, and it's going to cost us more money. So, man, I'd love it if we just had universal basic healthcare plus supplemental private insurance, meaning you break your hand, you get the flu, we take care of you. For more exotic and extreme instances like, cancers and stuff, then you're going to need supplemental insurance on top of your basic universal care. But I'd rather my military tax dollars go into healthcare. It's far from perfect. Ultimately, the point is, it's funny how you can hear that and be like, well, Tim certainly doesn't agree with these conservatives, but yet we agree on honesty and truth. That's what it's all about. Stop giving your money to people who hate you. Give it to TimCast.com because we don't hate you. We want to tell the truth to everybody. We want you to make decisions for you based on true and correct information. We don't want to be in charge of you. And we're going to use your money for hiring journalists, expanding the company, building infrastructure, and challenging the establishment and calling out their lies. I will not just pander to people for clicks, for members, or any of that stuff. I won't do it. You have to believe that we are just trying to do the right thing and be honest. It means we get things wrong sometimes. It means we'll issue corrections, and it means you can submit corrections. In fact, maybe one thing we should probably do is have like a VIP corrections line. You can email, you can issue corrections at timcast.com. We take corrections all day, every day. We issue them. I go through and make sure to make things are corrected if they haven't been. But maybe we'll do a VIP access line. If you're a member, we'll have a special mailbox that we'll check. Because we get tens of thousands of emails from the general public. Maybe the member line will be, if you're a member, you can contact us through the member line, only for members. And we'll have to figure it out because I don't know how it would actually work if people can just share the email. But we'll figure something out. We'll figure out like a form or something we can do. And we'll put up a billboard. As for Ethan Klein, you see what happens when you become corrupt. Ethan is trying to run a business, and I can respect that. He doesn't want to lose members or money. I can respect that too. But lying and pandering and backing off of your positions and your jokes is it's not a winning position. And I'm not going to live in that world, and you shouldn't either. Next segment is coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.